Watching One Piece. Watching One Piece.
Hello and welcome back to We Are Watching One Piece. It's the anime sort of like a recap watch podcast where I'm watching this stuff for the first time. Joe is here with me watching it for the second time, possibly third, fourth, or fifth. I don't think they'll ever tell, and we'll never be privy to that information.
I live in mystery.
I'm Jory. The only one who's ever watched One Piece as well. No other Jorys even know what One Piece is.
It's true.
So that's how you know I'm the only Jory, because I'm the only one who knows about One Piece.
Which is the criteria for being Jory, as we all know.
Yep.
That's why we do this podcast is government mandated. This week on the podcast, we're discussing episodes 664 through 772. Nothing. No, 672. My notes.
We watched 100 and some episodes.
Can you imagine?
Episodes.
My notes I just mistyped and just now noticed while reading it out loud.
Here's
664.
where you put in a clip of like an episode a long time ago. It's like, we can do Dressrosa in 2 epions.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, with how much I feel like I got out of this chunk, maybe we could have done Dressrosa in 2 chunks. 664 through 672. Nothing happens. Goodbye. Thank you for giving us money on Patreon. I'm going to say, I want to open this episode up with the meanest thing I'll ever say about One Piece.
All right, what's that?
Dressrosa has the pacing of Resident Evil 6.
I don't know the pacing of Resident Evil 6.
No one should. It sucks.
From what I understand about that game is there's like 4 different campaigns you go on with different pairs of characters. For some reason, Sherry is there. For some reason, you play as Wesker's kid.
Yeah, a bunch of things show up for no reason, and they kind of cross paths sometimes, and things just kind of happen, and most of them don't matter. Which I wouldn't actually say those mean of things about Dressrosa, but watching this chunk, I really got a little out of it. a lot of wheels spinning in place right now. Things getting set up or just moving at a very slow pace. Andrew, former, not disgraced, very much loved manga correspondent in the Discord, said that they could chime in every now and then and just say, this was shorter in the manga, thanks, and then leave. And I haven't read it, but I have to imagine that it's a much easier. Like, Dressrosa's got to be like so much better to read than to watch. I don't have time to read. I can't speed up reading. I can download a Chrome app to speed up Funimation's video, but I can't do that for a book. And I have to buy the book or find some website with it. Anyways, did we say our names? You said yours.
I did. I introduced you, but you didn't say your name. So in case no one believes me, you should probably say. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm Joe. There's probably more than one of those. If I had to bet, I never checked. Jory's the only person I've ever talked to in my whole life.
It's weird. Somehow you've done all these podcasts, but yet you do them alone in a room and you hope that the person on the other end is responding.
It's all post-production. Yeah, I just hire out people to punch up my own material. I send it out to labs. They're all very skilled performers. I mean, the shows do well, but no, Jory's the only one that I talk to live. And we talk about One Piece. Again, government mandated.
We're in the Dressrosa. We're still here. We're still gonna be here for a while.
For a while until like
Thanksgiving. I've got to say something here. Is while the pacing does not bother me that much, I can say that because I am not watching 1 episode a week as it's coming out.
Yes, and you honestly, you're watching like an episode a day, roughly, right?
Around that, yeah.
That probably is fine because you get like a little bite of it, but like it seems like it would be awful week to week, and it also, I'm gonna say, not great to sit and binge 10 at a time, because that's what I do is I sit down and knock all these out typically, and also I know how it all ends, so I really feel like I'm just waiting at this point, because like a lot of the other arcs we've covered and stuff we'll cover past this in the future. I'm assuming the stuff that's past this I will feel this way about. But in the past, I've been like, yeah, I know it's going to happen, but it's exciting. You know Luffy's going to win 90% of the time. Maybe he loses the first time, and he, like against Caesar, he got knocked down twice, but eventually he beat the shit out of him. But I was always compelled to watch them again. Watching this chunk, I'm really just like, okay, but what's next? And then I don't know. I think it's just I don't know. This arc is weird about how a lot of things are just kind of spinning in place until X, Y, or Z can happen. Like we were talking about in these past couple episodes, I've been like, yeah, Kinemon's not going to do anything until like 6 other things happen, and then he can have his plot thread with Kanjuro. So you have a lot of people just standing around, and that sticks around for all of Dressrosa. And just remember that it could have been worse. We got rid of like 4 Straw Hats. We shipped them off. They're gone. And there's still too many people here. Anyways, I guess we get into it with 664. If you remember last time, what happened last time? I mean, the main thing that this starts off with is Sabo showed up. Remember Sabo?
So here's the thing that I want to get out of the way right away.
Great.
They still have not named him. That I think is really funny. They have not.
They
said
just
Sabo
never say
yet.
his name.
I think
That's very funny.
They've done everything to show that it's him, but they have not, besides showing his unmasked, unhidden face and saying his name, which I think, even though we all know who it is, that's still pretty cool. Like,
it's funny. Yeah, I mean, what's the thing? Luffy's like, yeah, it's my other brother. So like that I would argue that's just as good as saying his name, but it is very funny that like because that conversation that Luffy has about him lasts 30 seconds. It's never going to come up again. I guess Bart probably knows it, but he's not going to say it to Rebecca.
That's what I'm not sure about, if he's completely sure on it, but...
that's the thing, we don't see that scene. We don't see Luffy being like, okay, yes, you get the fruit. I got to go, beat Doflamingo, put on my outfit. Hey, Bart, help him win. And Bart's like, yeah... Luffy's like, yeah, this is Sabo. But here's the thing: Luffy wouldn't say this is my brother. Sabo would, after Luffy leaves, Sabo would be like, yeah, I'm his brother.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, no, it's interesting that we don't see any of that at all. It just kind of happens, and then like you can kind of fill in the blanks mentally. Of course, Bart would be on his side anyway.
Yeah.
But I actually like Bart a lot in this chunk. Of all the negative things I've said about it, Bart's great. The actual final fight that happens in the Coliseum is dumb as shit. But anyways, we start this episode 664 with Luffy still crying at the mascot suit. And Zoro's trying to figure out why he's crying.
And he's very upset. It's like, why are you crying? Stop fucking crying.
Yeah, because they're like in disguises or whatever. And he's just like blubbering like a baby, which, understandable. He gets over it pretty quick. Like, this is the only really scene. Then he goes back to being fight Doflamingo mode. But Zoro's, I guess to your point about not saying his name directly, Zoro asks a bunch of questions that Luffy just does not answer.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, you have another, it's not Ace, obviously. And then you have another brother, and Luffy just kind of keeps crying anyway. That's where we pick up, is still them running. The Tontada squad, who all is with them? The toy soldier is here, I think. He defects later, so I'm trying to remember. The same can be said of Frankie. He's about to defect. But Usopp and Robin stay with all of the Tontada. The reason that Frankie defects is because they're going to take a secret passage, a secret tunnel through, I don't know, the ground. Very convenient. That's a straight shot to the toy factory. Well, not the port. The port where they're going. Because there's like a port and there's a toy in the toy house. There's a very terrible sense of place in Dressrosa. I'm doing my best. But they're going to this like port toy factory thing. They're connected in some way. There's holes too small for Frankie. He's big boy, so he's like, he's gonna go top side. He's gonna go meet the front door. Basically, we hard cut to him being there. It's kind of insane. Everything with Frankie in this chunk, I feel out of my mind watching. Because it just feels like so many things are missing. Every third scene is missing.
Yeah, it just skips ahead to like shit that's going on with him.
Was like, again, like it's not even like, we've been complaining about nothing happening and it being too slow, and I'm like, oh, this moves too quickly. It's not that it moves too quickly, it just makes me feel insane. Like, there are things missing.
It feels weird because sometimes,
and nothing happens.
I don't live alone. I have a dog, and I live with my mom and my 7-year-old sister. So sometimes when I'm watching the things, something will happen outside my room, and I look, and if I look back at the TV and I see Frankie doing something that I don't remember him being in that part of the room, I go, oh, I need to rewind, and then I do, and I'm like, oh,
And it does not help. It does not help.
oh, it went from Luffy, Kinemon, and Zoro to Frankie 20 minutes ahead in whatever the fuck he's doing.
I do live alone, and I can't just like look at Twitter sometimes because this is how the fucking anime is.
I'm also watching it subbed, so like that's where the extras like, oh fuck, I definitely was looking
You
away,
can't hear
pretending
it, yeah.
I knew Japanese.
Yeah, I that maybe it's a little better in English if I'm just like listening and I just
Yeah.
click back when I hear the music change or someone speak. But for the most part, no, that effect is still there. But yeah, he just arrives at the toy house, which I don't know where this is relative to anything else in Dressrosa. It doesn't super matter, I guess, in the long run. But I don't know. I'd like to know. Later, it'll kind of help to know when Dressrosa as a whole location, as a whole country, kind of matters. That's not really a spoiler, but it later matters. But he's just suddenly there, and this is on, like, everything is kind of stacked on top of each other. So it's like the toy house where the toys go is where Frankie's going, but like below that is the port that they ship all of the illegal stuff out of. And I think the Smile Factory is also in there, or maybe it's not. I don't know. We see one shot of the inside of it, which does not help. And they show you diagrams, but because we haven't gotten there yet, I have not retained whether or not it is in this same stack of important locations or if it is elsewhere. Is there? I'm gonna Dressrosa map this. Oh yeah. Also, I guess I should mention the palace is on top as well. So this is all under the palace. This is a YouTube video explaining it, and it's called Part 2.
Oh.
And they have a copyright logo on it, which is hilarious. Okay, yeah, so I don't think the factory is here. I think it's the port at the bottom. Oh no, the factory is by the port. Looking at this map, we just haven't gotten there yet. This is the worst episode of this podcast we've ever made. I'm gonna be honest with you. But yes, we'll get to the factory eventually. I guess it is down there in the port. That's directly below the toy house, which you will never get a good look at, I don't think. We don't in these episodes. Frankie fights a bunch of people there. I basically summed up half of our episodes by saying Frankie fights people there. And directly above that is the palace, which we will get some people inside of in this chunk as well. Okay, so that's table setting. Let's talk about Senior Pink.
So, you know, because sometimes I'm watching it in a language where I'm not a native speaker, and I know certain words from Duolingo and from watching 600 plus episodes of anime about pirates.
Well, also,
on top of everything else I've watched.
You've watched a bunch of other anime too, but yeah.
Yeah, especially watching slice of life stuff, you don't hear like made up words very often. With Senior Pink, I'm gonna get into the way he acts. I wasn't paying attention. I'd see hard boiled and I'd read that and I'd go, oh, maybe it's just a weird translation for him going hard boiled. But then I started paying attention and they're going hard boiled and I'm like, fuck, it's not some weird like
they're saying it in
thing.
English.
Yeah, they're saying it in English. They're just saying hard boiled and I'm like, fuck. So I don't know what the fuck hard boiled means. I do understand I do get what they're going for with him and why all these women want him to bang them so bad.
Pretty bad.
There's no other way to put it. They're horny for this baby man. The nicest way I can put it is...
Wait, have we talked about the fact that he's a baby man?
Nope! He has sunglasses. He wears the like bonnet. He has a bib. He's in like a diaper Speedo type thing. Which is why he's a good matchup for Frankie, because they both dress like fucking losers, except...
Yeah.
And it's similar thing with Frankie, and so I get what they're going with the character is, and throughout these like 2-minute chunks that we get every so often,
generous.
They he goes like, "Shut up, women. I'm not doing this to impress you. This is just who I am." So like, what is going on here that I am able to gather is these women are so impressed by this disgusting, gross baby man being himself just for himself. And you know what? That's pretty cool of a character idea. However, I don't get the
Sucks to
hard-boiled
look
thing,
at.
and I hate looking at him. Like, I guess it is better to an extent. Like, it makes it feel less, like, gross and weird if it was just someone like Sanji, like, who looked and acted like Sanji, minus the Horde, who's, like, being like, "Shut up, women," and, like, ripping
Like,
off their tops to, like, wipe his face.
Yeah.
Like, it
which
makes
is
it goofier.
kind of a funny bit.
It makes it, like, more over the top that this baby man is acting like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the design could have been better for the bit because he's like a larger man. I'm like, is this fat phobic? That like the joke of why would they be attracted to him when I'm thinking about the fact that he's wearing a bib and sucking out a pacifier?
Yeah.
Hard boiled. I just googled One Piece. What is hard boiled? And I guess it's just like it just means super manly, like dark and gritty. Like it says like Humphrey Bogart, which no one on the One Piece Reddit's gonna know who the fuck that is.
So, according to Merriam-Webster, first time we're breaking this thing
Whoa.
out,
Oh shit! Surprise! 600 episodes.
of relating to or being a detective story featuring a tough, unsentimental protagonist and a matter-of-fact attitude towards violence. That's
He's not a detective. He's a baby.
Is he the boss baby? Who would win, Senior Pink or the boss baby?
The boss baby, easy. Yeah, so this guy, that's this guy's whole bit. I don't know. He's just kind of like I don't know. The positives you said about him as a personality, I don't disagree with. I just have a hard time looking through what's on the screen to get at them.
I hate looking at him.
I don't like any of this crew, really. You tweeted that you don't like any of their designs, and I basically agree with you.
I like Sugar and Baby 5. That's about it.
I like Dellinger, but not even like I think he's great, but I think maybe just because he's surrounded by awful designs. Where I'm like, he's all right.
Dellinger looks like a character made to be. He's like, if there's anyone who's a one-slur in One Piece, I'd say it's a Dellinger. That's just what Dellinger makes me think of. Is a one-slur.
One-slur vibes.
Is a Jack Frost. That's what I get from him. Like Machvis, he looks like a bus driver. Whatever.
He's just a guy. Yeah, I don't know.
He's just
we
a
get
guy.
like 2 seconds of him in these episodes. But I think that's part of the problem with me too. Is just that like. There's just a lot of them, and what do they do? What do they do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there are way too many people in Dressrosa, and because I know how this ends in the long run, I get it, but I'm just tired a lot of the time.
Yeah.
We'll have an episode at the end of this year where we look back and be like,
we should do a Dressrosa post-mortem episode, probably. With how much there is. Maybe like a bonus, like an extra second Patreon thing.
Maybe, yeah.
But
if that appeals to you, get at our Minchies. Because it might also just happen naturally when we get to the end of it.
Yeah.
Because when we see what I'll call the quote-unquote payoff of a lot of things that seem stupid in this arc, maybe just it'll naturally will just be like, was it worth it? And the answer is like, yeah, probably. We don't. Here's the thing. Guess what? It's One Piece. Set up for another payoff. We're not there yet.
That's the thing that like scares me about all this is they keep mentioning things and then they go to the One Piece episode again. It's like, oh, that's a place they mentioned. That's a place they mentioned. I go on Twitter. It's like that's something that was brought up recently.
I know that term.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get there in I don't know a couple episodes of the anime. We're still, even though nothing has happened, we're still talking about 664. Anyways, yeah. So right now Frankie's just attacking Senior Pink outside of the toy house. We also should probably talk about his power. He just kind of, I guess he can just swim in anything.
Yeah.
He's able to like swim in the ground. I guess it's just anything that he touches he can turn into That's the thing. I wouldn't say he can turn anything to water. He can swim in it. And I don't like the sounds it makes.
It's the swim fruit that like lets him swim in things. I think it's a neat power. Especially because it's not one that like affects his body exactly. It just lets him it seems like it's like on the low end of like useful powers. You just basically have to like hope he doesn't swim under you. Like here's the thing, he won't because he's a dumbass. Yeah.
Like it looks like he's gonna get the jump on Frankie, but he just kind of like swims in front of him and is like, I would never attack a man behind his back, and everyone's like, oh, so hard boiled. And then he gets sweaty, so he tears off their clothes to dry his face. I've described everything Senor Pink accomplishes in this chunk of episodes. We must move away. Fujitora and Doflamingo are talking. I don't know what about. I just heard that they talk. And then they also hear this. But basically everybody in Doflamingo's crew, when Frankie is attacking Senor Pink, I guess he just left the fucking snail phone on because everybody who's connected in the fucking Doflamingo group chat hears it. I think Fujitora and Doflamingo do as well because these scenes are back to back. Who could say? Here's this. I can tell you this. Doesn't matter.
So there's one thing that I am wondering. I guess it's not here specifically, but how did the former king get in Doflamingo's office? I don't remember them taking him there.
He just shows up. That's another thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Riku. The last time we saw Riku was in the scrap heap.
Yeah.
After his fight, and then in this episode, surprise, he's in Doflamingo's bedroom now. Which, yeah, I don't know if it's in this episode, but soon we'll see that. Yeah, no, that didn't happen on screen. You didn't miss anything. It just happens. Shouldn't have taken the helmet off.
Yeah.
I did it for a second. Immediately a bad idea. Well, let's see. Leo. Leo is like the one distinct Tentada, really. There's a couple, but he's like the main one. He's the one that like has the sewing needle. I don't know if it's a power or if he's just really good at it. I don't remember. They haven't said. But he explains to Usopp. I think they're on the way to the port still, maybe. But he's explaining to Usopp how Doflamingo splits up his people. Treble, the big awful goo man, who we're gonna have to talk about today, he oversees all the power users specifically. I mean, he himself has one, of course. But Sugar, who's important, Violet, who has the clairvoyance, and Giola, who is basically already taken care of, but she had the art power. Weirdo powers that are kind of useful, but not fighters necessarily.
Yeah.
Speaking of fighters, though, Diamante oversees all the strong fighters. Lauji, Mach Vice, Senor Pink, and Dellinger, who were all going to be at the Coliseum, and now they're all going to beat the shit out of Frankie. Except for Diamante. Diamante's going to fight in the tournament Coliseum thing. And then there's Pika, who we haven't really seen or talked about yet. We'll see him a little bit at the end of this chunk. But he is the third commander over all the dipshit weirdos. Gladius, who we've seen explode his hair. Baby Five and Buffalo also were taken care of in Punk Hazard. I don't know if we'll see. We've seen Baby Five around, but I don't know. I think I could not tell you if she fights again or not.
So something about Buffalo that I noticed is him and Treble just sound the same. Very similar.
Yeah, in the dub as well, they have a little bit of distinction. There's like a little bit more mustard on the Treble sandwich.
Yeah.
But they're similar. They also mention, of course, that Virgo and Monet are officers who work on the fringe, but they're probably dead, maybe dead. Who could say? Oh my god, I forgot that these episodes, Rebecca's still fighting. Rebecca's still fighting. Fight, Block D will end soon. It ends in 666.
So, I have to say something there. I was hoping that we'd just like skip that, like the show would just like skip her her fight. I don't need to see like
None of this matters.
it's like she is new enough that like I don't care that much to see her struggle within the arena. I get like what the payoff is supposed to be, somewhat that we already have gotten. I get that, and I get her connection to Dressrosa and everything. However, she should have just been in Block C, and like Luffy fought to protect her and then won the battle when he got mad because she got beat up really bad or something. I don't know.
That would have been more streamlined, and then we could have just skipped 4, or just basically have what happens anyway at the end of 4, which is just kind of set up for someone's power for not now.
Yeah.
Could have happened exactly the same way we skipped Block A.
Yeah.
Also, guess what? Here's the thing with like Rebecca, the investment in Rebecca, like there's been some flashbacks, you know, I don't not care about her. Obviously I care about it because I've seen all of the arc now and past it. But like, do you know how much time we spent with Vivi? Do you realize why we cared about Vivi so much? That's why.
Yeah.
We didn't meet her episode 10 of Alabasta. And there's Rebecca maybe is. She's not. I don't think she's around enough to be a direct comparison to Vivi. But
yeah,
that's the thing though. Vivi's very important to that arc's government. But you spend time with her. You give a shit when she gets there, and she fights somebody probably. I don't remember what she does. I think she fights remember that there was like a cool thing where everybody threw everybody up into the air to turn a bomb off. That was cool. I think that was her at the top of it. Anyways, I miss you, Vivi. Can't wait to see you again. You're definitely joining the crew, right? You said you were. Please. So the Tantana team arrives at the port. It's an Amazon warehouse. The toys work here as slaves.
You know, slaves, the things you want in your anime for 12-year-old boys.
Yeah, there's something weird about it being like toys, because like I keep going back and forth between like this is sanitized and also is this more terrifying? Because whenever you get to like hear one of their thoughts, they're like, I can't control my body, I can't speak, what is going on? And then they're like being whipped as slaves to move boxes. Yeah. And I'm like, they're cute toys, but this is also the most horrific thing imaginable. And then it ends, and then I go back to watching Rebecca dodge an attack or something. With some of these characters in the ring, I don't know if Oda like was trying to decide which ones mattered. Some of Dressrosa kind of feels that way in a way that most of One Piece doesn't. Some of it does, like the giant shadows with Skypiea kind of feels like he decided later what they were, and it wasn't that interesting. Is the number one example that comes to mind. But I think maybe some of these named characters are that way, because there's some people still left over in this fight that Rebecca fights, and it's like, oh, that's a distinct design. They said his name earlier. They're saying it now, but it doesn't matter. Like Suleiman. I wrote it down. They give him like a whole backstory. They're like, yeah, he fought to defend his country, and I'm like, is this supposed to mirror what Rebecca's doing? No. And then I don't know. I don't even remember if she beats him or if they just cut ahead to everybody dying. I don't know. Yeah, he like almost hits her, but remember Agilia? No, you don't. But she takes the hit for her.
Mm-hmm. She's the only other lady there, and ladies got to stick together.
It's true. There's a scene. We're cutting back to the mascot squad now. There's a scene where Zoro gets lost and causes a bunch of problems and then gets back together with everybody.
And then we're reminded that he has someone hanging out on his tits.
Reminded that Wicca's there. I haven't checked that this is filler. I'm just gonna assume. Seems dumb. I could pull up if there's anime notes on this episode on the wiki. Wow, I was right. I pulled it up, and I was right. Also, Rebecca's fight with Suleiman is extender. Acelia does not take a hit in this manga. I imagine there's anime notes on every single one of these. But we are an anime recap podcast, not a manga podcast.
I don't know how to read.
Go listen to Paramecia. They're nice. And much farther than us. They're caught up.
That's true.
I don't remember where they started, so I don't know how if they have like a backlog. But anyways, that's the bit. We're just gonna get to wherever they started and then quit, and then just send everybody over. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, Wicca reminds everybody that she exists and guides them to the palace. We'll get there at the end of the episode, or maybe the next episode. Who doesn't matter. The soldier, the toy soldier, who will finally learn his name somewhere in here, which again, the subtitles in the English just said a long time ago for me. But he separates from the Tontatta Usopp squad. They want Usopp to lead the squad. They get ambushed, or not ambushed, but like some guards walk up to them and are like, hey, what the fuck? The Tontatta beat the shit out of them. And they're like, great plan, Usopp. Or Uso Land. And so Usopp and Robin get these disguises. They all just kind of play along like it was their idea. Funny. That's it. What else happens? Oh, yeah, so because all of these are stacked on top of each other, we kind of like, if this was an effective sense of place, they would like pan around the corner or something, but you kind of just cut away to an elevator that's in here. There's just one elevator that I guess connects everything. Maybe there's multiple shafts. It looks like there's just the one. But some pirates are going up it because they're going to go defend the toy house from Frankie. And the toy soldier goes up there. He just wants to kill Doflamingo. That's his only goal. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think the toy soldier is going to be the person to kill Doflamingo.
I think Luffy will let him do the final fight. He'll be like, you are
think
fully
so?
capable, toy soldier. I'm going to back out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to throw Doflamingo a sensu bean. This
So he can fight him himself.
This is a Dragon Ball Z reference to the Cell Saga.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, they're gonna have a flashback to how the DBZ crossover was canon.
Oh,
and
hell
Goku
yeah.
gave him one sensu bean.
Oh,
and he was like,
yes.
I'm gonna use this on Doflamingo.
So we can battle at full power.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Doflamingo will need one. Unfortunately. Anyways, yeah, so the lift. I wrote down that there's a flashback and I could not tell you what's in it. I think it might just be the soldier deciding what he's gonna do, like getting onto the lift or something. But that's what he's doing, and later he's gonna get assaulted by an old man. We cut to the Coliseum and everybody died. End of the episode.
Yeah, that was when I was like, what the fuck happened? What did I miss?
Why did we watch any of this?
Yep. Why could they have just done this at the beginning?
And it's the same as the fucking Kinemon thing. It's just like, gotta wait till later. When you have fucking 8 balls in the air, you can't just, you gotta only catch one at a time, I guess. Yeah, anyways, but next episode, 666, Hail Satan. There's one person who stands up from the smoke clearing.
They're making a big deal out of it, like, who the fuck else would it be?
Yeah, no, it's guess what? It's the girl with the pink hair. In my anime, holy shit. And I guess it's because she has observation hockey that she was able to dodge the attack. I think the idea is that, like, you would assume the person who did it would stand up. Because I knew what this was.
At first I was like, oh, she discovered she had Conqueror's hockey off screen where no one could see it. But
that cool cutaway. But no, that's not. It's something much dumber and much better. Which is to say, Bastille, remember him? Marine guy? I don't know what his title is in the Marines, but he's here. And he's just watching TV, and he explains that he knows exactly what it was. It was the slicing winds of Ramel, which we all know. I don't have to explain.
Yeah, everyone is familiar with this. This is a thing, you know, that everyone knows. They show us a bunch of British people being executed in the night, probably for being British.
As they should.
As they should, like they deserve. And, The more safe part is, figured out when that like pretty boy, when he falls asleep, he turns into this crazy guy who kills people with these winds, and then he falls back asleep.
Yeah, there's like a whole pitch on like, oh yeah, there was this murderer who would come out every now and then, but it turns out wherever those happen, so is Cavendish. But yes, no, he has fucking narcolepsy, I guess. He'll just randomly pass out. But when he passes out, his body is taken over by Hakuba, who just murders everything around him wicked fast. That's it. So that's why he wasn't the one who stand up, because he was fucking asleep afterwards.
And then
it's really funny.
This big reveal was thrown away for a bit because of what happens to him.
Yes, that's the thing. Also, like, I guess just store that away for later for the next time we actually see Cavendish do anything. and when you're watching this the first time and not with your friend Joe, who's talking about it in the arc as a whole, you might think, why did any of that matter? He's gone now. But anyways, well, he gets turned into a toy in like an episode. Because that's what happens to everybody who loses these fights. Yeah, so yeah, we see Hakuba like take out the entire field in her flashback Rebecca has. She dodges it just in time. The announcer makes a big deal about how, I don't know, I guess he's a feminist for letting her have her victory or something. I'm exaggerating for a joke, but also, I mean, not that much. But yeah, everybody's pissed. Everybody's pissed that she won. We cut back to Frankie versus Senor Pink. I don't know if they're inside the house yet. At some point, they get inside the house. And it's kind of just colors behind them. I don't think he ever drew the house. I don't know if he knows what the house looks like. The toy house? I don't know what it looks like. It looks, honestly, it's on par with the inside of the Beast Man from Caesar's filler arc. It looks like the inside of his circus tent. Actually, no, that is more defined than this, but like similar vibe. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're in there yet. I probably wrote it down. Doflamingo has Riku in his. That happened off screen, as you mentioned before. Didn't miss it. You didn't blink. Or we both did, but I'm pretty sure we didn't blink. Also, Law is here, but we knew that. We knew that Law was taken away. But Doflamingo says some ominous stuff, I guess, as he looks at them. Wicca, we're going back now to the Luffy squad. Wicca says that they have to enter the palace to get below it. They have to take a lift up to the palace and then take a different lift, I guess, down. It's very confusing and not explained very well. But that's how they're going to get to the factory. Also, I don't think any of these people are trying to get to the factory. Eventually Kinemon wants to go to the toy house, I guess. But
his buddy's probably a toy by now. You know what?
Probably.
His bud's probably a toy. I just made that realization. He's more than likely a toy.
Yeah, and guess what? Like, there's a million things in this arc that are, like, being set up. Like, we're gonna go do this. We're on our way to do this. But then you have Leo over here, like, we had to take out Sugar. So all the people who are toys turn back into humans. That has to happen before, like, half of these other things.
Yeah, that's the most important one. Honestly, that's more important than, like, getting Doflamingo right now.
And why not just do that? Put that on screen and nothing else. But no, you have to cut back to Luffy running upwards and you have to start all these other fights first because I don't know. It's a mess. They don't know how they're gonna get into the palace because Wicca's like, no, we shouldn't brute force it and cause a scene. Spoilers, it happens anyway. Luffy's in the show. But Viola conveniently shows up and is going to help them get into the palace. That's why she rode off on her horse like 10 episodes ago, because she's here now to help. And she has clairvoyance, so you kind of do have a cheap answer for why does she show up anywhere at the right time or know people's names before she's met them. There actually is an answer to that, but it is very convenient. That's the end of that episode, though. 667. The Coliseum announces that the finals will unfortunately not have those 4 other people fighting. It'll just, but in their place, it'll be a Diamante, who everybody likes. Rebecca's coming inside. She sees Sabo dressed as Lucy, and she's like, "You look different." And Sabo's like, "Hey, I'm gonna cause a bunch of shit out there. It's gonna be real bad, but I know about you and your whole deal, and don't worry about it." And he's not wrong. He's like, I won't do wrong by you. And by that, he means he's gonna eventually tell Bart to protect her. Because he has to get a fruit. I actually kind of like this moment, because he's reminded by Dressrosa. He is reminded of where he grew up, just the same way that Luffy was. I think that's a nice detail. Yeah. It's very interesting that Sabo shows up, and it's just kind of like instantly normal. There's kind of no pomp and circumstance about the whole thing. Like, I don't know. His face is covered, as you mentioned before. Like, I don't remember. I think maybe they have a reveal moment when he pulls the disguise off, and you're like, oh shit, that's his that's his actual design or whatever. But because he was in shadow before he put on the
Hey, wait a minute.
mustache.
We've been saying this is Sabo, but I'm pretty sure we saw Sabo get obliterated at sea as a child.
You're saying okay, so this is Bon Clay then. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Bon Clay
He
touched Sabo once, and now he heard about Luffy's brother, and he's like, I'm gonna pretend to be Sabo to replace the brother he lost. You can't prove this is wrong. Anyways, cut back to Luffy. Viola says they should take a back route, a secret route. They don't want to take the lift. I don't know why they don't take the lift. Because I really feel like it would have been better if they'd taken the lift.
Also, Viola just so happens to have a past with Wicca, where he's like, "You remember me?" And she's like, "Of course. Don't you remember my power?"
Yeah, she knows everybody, but I don't know. They know each other. We cut back to Frankie. He's fighting Mock Vice. No, you didn't miss anything.
Nope.
He's there now. He jumps up in the air and he falls, and it hurts his stomach. I think
he's got a big belly. He's a big boy. Look at the big guy fall down. Haha.
I'm trying to remember. He's saying something. It's kind of like he has like this sort of like tail. I don't know if it's like the floating Tanuki trope or something similar that I'm being confused with. Does he have a power to make him heavy, or a power to float, or is he just like that? Because we've already seen someone
tell us is what I imagine. I hope
when he has a real fight.
When he has an introduction similar to Lao G, we'll get.
That's the thing. Lao G actually gets an introduction, and he has a fight one-on-one on someone. But there's a lot of people who show up to beat up Frankie that are basically just playing as cameos. Like, they're not getting real fights yet. It's weird. I don't know why any of this is done this way, but swing and a miss, I guess, for me. Senor Pink takes an attack to the face because he did not feel like moving out of the way. He soothes his wounds with brandy and a baby bottle. There are Marines here, which just make it busier, and I still don't really know what this room looks like or is.
It's a pillar room. It's a room full of pillars.
It's colorful backgrounds for people to fight on top of.
It's the entrance. It's a fighting game level. That's what it is.
Honestly.
It's just a stage
Honestly.
for these people to fight.
Yeah. Here's something that kind of matters eventually. Fujitora is like, Doflamingo, I hate your fucking guts. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real with you. I hate you. I don't like you. And I want to abolish warlords altogether. Remember Crocodile? You're like him, but worse.
If Crocodile succeeded, he would have a country where he could just do illegal things, like I definitely know are going on here.
Yeah. But he can't do anything because he's not going to go against his mandate as an admiral to protect these places or protect. Like, that's the thing. He's also a king, so he can't even.
Yeah, he's doing it for the citizens, the civilians.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna protect the kingdom. I will have to turn a blind eye to some things, but that's the only type I have. Good one, buddy. Also, the reveries this year. Bye. Don't worry about that.
Oh man, I bet that's not gonna influence some big things coming.
No. Why would it's not like they came up in Fishman Island, and it was similarly like, I'm gonna have to worry about that until it happens, and then it comes up again now.
I bet. Here, I'm gonna take a guess. Whatever happens there is gonna make things much more difficult for our favorite rubber boy.
What makes you say that?
You know, the thing that makes me say that is there's a total of one person in the world who's a royalty of the world government who likes Luffy, and she lives in the desert.
Yeah, well, her dad's cool too, right?
Well, I think
also
she took his
Dalton.
place. Oh yeah,
Dalton's the king of some shit.
Oh yeah,
Drum Island. If Luffy succeeds in cooing this country, Riku will probably be chill about it. There's probably other examples I'm forgetting. I don't know. I don't remember. But because that's the thing. He was fucking with the Marines for so long is the thing. There was a big chunk there where it was just like Enies Lobby through Marineford. Thriller Bark is a big chunk of kind of just in the nowhere zone. There's no government there. But anyways, this is Alabasta too, so we're back in governments mattering. Yeah, so Fujitora leaves this room. I don't remember what he goes and does, but eventually he's not leaving the Ark. Viola shows the boys a secret passage, and my note, I wrote that Luffy does a thing, and I wrote this too long ago. Is this when he just breaks down the door? When she says,
no.
don't break down the door, or is that later?
That's a little bit later. This is one...
Oh, this is the elevator. This is the...
Yeah, this is when Zoro's like, hey, Zoro or Kitamon's like, hey, Luffy, pick up that boulder and bring the lift down so it's easier for all of us. He was like, you can't fucking do that. That's a heavy boulder. And Luffy goes, okay, and does it.
That's cute. That's nice. Yeah, no, I should have wrote a more detailed note down, but I did not. But yes, they're going up that weird, like, chain-operated lift, and Viola's like, wow, he's a strong rubber boy. I'm so shocked, I can't believe it. The Coliseum is about to start their finals. Koala is here to watch.
Yeah. She can't get a hold of her fish friend, though. Wonder why.
I think she's forgotten that she had one.
Yeah.
I think she has now been like, I'm just here with Sabo. Weird. So let's go to the next episode then, 668. It's going to be these final 4 people up against Diamante, but not really. We'll find out in a minute. It's more complicated than that. Also, it seems like there is no, like, it feels like Diamante, once they reveal what this fight's about, it feels like Diamante being in it makes no sense whatsoever. It feels like it just ruins the entire appeal of the match. But
I get why he's there, because you don't want anyone to actually win it.
I mean, I get it from that perspective, but I wouldn't want to watch it. I don't know, maybe people there are more I don't know.
So
evil,
I'm going
malicious.
to throw wrestling into here. I'm going to reference a wrestling for you.
Is this Money in the Bank?
Well, that could work for this, but there is an example of this recently where there's a thing called the Royal Rumble, where at the start of the match, 2 people enter, and every 3 or so minutes, you say that in quotations because they definitely go by faster or slower depending on what's happening and who gives a fuck because it's entertaining. Another person comes
it's
down.
fake time. It's anime time. Wrestling is anime time.
Basically, every 3 minutes, a new person comes out until 30 people have come out, and the goal is to push someone over the top rope so that, and then when you're the last person remaining in the ring, you win a championship match against the champion at WrestleMania. Last Royal Rumble, the champion entered in that match, and the whole thing behind it, I guess, is if he won, he just would get to take the night off at WrestleMania. He did not win the match, and he lost WrestleMania. So that's what I'm getting. That's what that would be. Same with, like, Money in the Bank would be a more apt because that's an opportunity to just cash in at any time. So this would just be like Diamante would just go, I guess I just stole someone's opportunity to have cool power. It just goes back to Doflamingo. And it also doesn't work because fucking, I don't know if Burgess has a power.
I don't think he does. I think the idea is that he would eat the fruit. When we get the one scene with Blackbeard, we should probably explain that what's happening. If for the people who maybe don't remember or haven't seen it, I don't know how you'd still be listening to this podcast if you didn't know what happens in this anime.
The
to be completely
tones
honest,
that come out of our mouths.
Yeah, if you fall asleep to this, I'm so sorry for the dreams you must have. Fucking just giant Robin's feet smashing down. Diamante explains in a minute. I'm skipping over his power reveal for a minute. He's like, guess what? What if the fighting fish that weren't important at all in the previous episodes, really? What if they were bigger and meaner? And
what if they were pissed?
What if they were pissed and one of them has a chest on its back with the fruit? So
okay, that part's just fucking stupid. That's like, you can win the prize in the middle of the fight!
That's the thing. At that point, it is not a fight against each other. It is who gets the fruit first, which
This is another
interesting.
I'm gonna do another wrestling analogy. There's
Please. This is,
there-
I mean, this is Otis' wrestling arc, basically.
This is whatever wrestling does an on a pole match, which an on a pole match means there's a pole on like a corner, and the goal is to get up to the pole to pull down like a chair or a kendo stick or a nightstick
Or a ladder.
or a taser.
Well, that's Money in the Bank, though. Money in the Bank uses the ladder, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, ladder matches are a little different because once you climb up the ladder and get it, you win. A pole match, it usually has like some kind of weapon. Except for the one time they did Viagra on a pole, which is one of the worst things to ever happen in wrestling, but also one of the best things to
Sounds
ever
like
happen.
If you're a sicko.
It's really bad. It's the same way The Room is good. But the way on a pole matches always go is whoever gets the thing on the pole wins because they have a chair or a kendo stick or a taser. And how do you fight back against that? Especially after like 15 minutes of fighting over it, you're going to be tired. You get hit with that chair, you're down. As this is. Whoever gets the fucking fruit wins, especially when...
Because then you can just use it.
Especially, even though you're going to have that growing pains, all these people are... I mean, 2 of them already have powers and can't use it. But they're all strong enough that they could adapt pretty quickly. And they make a big point of saying... it's one of the strongest fruits out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Diamante, I mean, he's a pretty strong guy, so I have to imagine he could probably play keep away with it for a while. I think Burgess or Bart would be at a huge disadvantage. I mean, maybe Bart would be fine, actually, kind of because of his power being the way that it is. You kind of have to think around Bart's power. We know what's going to happen anyway. So I think it is just, well, rather than have Sabo beat 4 people when one of them is Bart on his side and the other one is Rebecca, who isn't fighting for him but is good. We don't want to see her lose necessarily, but she's not getting this fruit. You kind of come up with a way around it, I guess. I mean, Diamante's pretty strong. This isn't really his moment either, and he doesn't really do anything, but he does reveal his power, which is stupid. Anything he touches, he can turn into a flag, but then he can also reform it into its original texture, in whatever shape the flag is in, which you probably could have just... That's an alchemy fruit at that point. Why are you making it a flag?
You could have just called it like the fabric fruit, right? Like he can turn it into
but it's like the
fabric.
Flag. It flaps in the wind specifically.
That's too specific. Also, he is just Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
Yes, he is. He 100% is, down to the fact that he like dances around and has a microphone that he yells into.
I'm gonna do. See, I have to prepare all my references because so people will know that they're not gonna understand what I'm talking about. There's one time when I was like 12 years old that Aerosmith played at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, which is the biggest motorcycle rally in the world, and it takes place like an hour away from my house. It makes me miserable for a week.
Didn't you see ICP there once though? That's worth it all, right?
I did. It was awesome. I also saw CKY. And CKY did a bit on stage where they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna play the song that you only know from Tony Hawk."
And all the bikers were like, "Yeah, we love Tony Hawk."
But Steve, during the Aerosmith performance, the power went out at the campground where they played. So Steven Tyler, being an old drunk man, was like, "I'm gonna dance on stage to entertain people, even though no one can fucking see him." And he fell off the stage and was airlifted to the hospital here. I was hoping Diamante would do this.
Do that.
Fall into the fighting fish.
And then be lifted off. No, he has to have an important fight later. Spoilers. Yeah, so he introduces his power. He explains the match. He explains his power in a dumb way, by the way, which is some people run in to take Rebecca out of the match because they don't like her or think her. I don't know. Fake news. The 4th match was stolen, something like that. But that's Diamante's power reveal. Is he turns his sword into a flag, and then it folds into the shape of a bull's head, and it reforms back into Stabby, and then he stabs them. There's gotta be a better way to describe that than flag, man. I don't know. It's dumb as shit. Anyways, the fight starts. Instantly, Sabo just starts luring the fish out because he wants the fruit. Like, come on. You've just, like, thrown the fighting part of this kind of out of the window. Especially when, like, Bart and Sabo are on the same side and Bart has the power he does. But anyways, we'll see a little bit more of that. It does not end in this chunk, unfortunately. We will get there. There's like a couple moments in Dressrosa where like everything kind of shifts around it. It's like, oh, it's like Law cutting the factory in half, where like suddenly a lot of things have to sync up because that affects the room around them.
Yeah.
There's a couple things in Dressrosa like that. One of them, as you can probably guess, some of them just based on how many fucking things are in motion. Yeah, we'll get to some of them soon. And that's why there's a lot of people running around with nothing to do. But we keep checking in on him for some reason. Yeah, so that's Sabo for a while. He at some point fights Burgess pretty directly and he shows off a new move. I'll talk about that when it comes to, but that's really the only other thing I think that happens. Viola is trying to get Luffy to just sneak in. He, I guess, just ignores her in third gear, punches a door open. But then people start reporting that Luffy's in the palace and Doflamingo's watching TV like, no, Luffy's on my TV. This is Luffy.
Luffy's in the video box. How could he be outside of the
Was this
fortress?
taped earlier? What happened?
Am I on a delay? Did Luffy win?
Yeah, no, it's
He's
which
also
is funny
watching
because,
TV because he's like, why hasn't Luffy done a stretch?
yeah, it's been a while since Luffy stretched. Whereas and suddenly his chest scar looks different, and he has a pipe. Why does he have a pipe?
Yeah.
Also, I love that now, like, counting the dugong, 2 people have drawn on fake scars to match Luffy.
They got to do the movie where the Straw Hats discover like a fandom island of people who just like live around watching pirate shit go down. So there's like an entire just like
I hope
clan of people
Bart,
with painted scars, and Bart will be in it.
I hope Bart gets just a tattoo on his chest. I mean, like, I say this as someone with the X on the back of my arm from Alabasta, but I don't know if I've ever seen someone get a big X chat.
I'm too scared to
tattoo.
That's one I'm not going to look up. I'm too scared to look that one up.
And no, it seems like a bad idea.
That's about as bad as people who get like the Berserk brand put on them.
Yeah, that's a stretch for me. I'm gonna be honest. 3D2i though. Also, I don't remember. I think Papa talked about that. But anyways, yeah. So that's my notes say Doflamingo's watching the TV and says, "Who was phone?" Great bit me from 4 days ago. At the end of the episode though. 669. Nice. Kinemon defects from everyone else. I haven't talked about him in a while, like an hour, because he doesn't do anything. But he is with Zoro and Luffy the whole time, and he and Wicca break off because he has to go find Kanjuro in the toy house. Guess we'll check in on him then. We actually see him like once or twice more, but it doesn't. It's just stalling.
We sure do see him do something that I do not foresee working.
Oh yes, yes, we do have one very incredible cliffhanger with him. I think near the end, like maybe the last episode we watch. But for a while, he's just kind of spinning in place. Also, I don't know what you're saying. What you think? I think his plan is perfect and foolproof, and it's gonna be great. Anyways, well, yeah. So he fucks off. Luffy, Zoro, and Viola head up, but bad news. Remember Pika? We heard that name before. Guess what he can do? Y'all seen Monster House? It's actually not that much like Monster House. I just wanted to say that. Pika, whose voice we will not hear, he can just kind of merge with control stone.
Yeah.
At some point, Oda was like, all right, so Zoro's going to have to fight a stone guy at one point. But that's based, like, he just comes out of the wall. He just is the palace, I guess. He can just any stone. He can merge with and control and make into. It's a lot. And, like, Luffy can punch and break up the rocks, but then it just reforms. It doesn't really feel like there's a strong set of rules on this one, because sometimes it moves like a flag. I'm gonna say it, and then and then it's not. I don't know. But a lot of these hallways just got a lot scarier, I guess. And yeah, this is why Viola didn't want them to be seen. It's because the entire palace can punch you. How do you feel about Pika so far? I mean, basically, you just kind of see him fight, kind of.
You know, when I was looking up important purchases, I saw someone on Reddit say Sugar has the most broken power in the series. And then I see this guy, and I go, I think someone who could become a castle is pretty broken too. They don't have a clear like end of how far it goes. As far as I'm concerned, he can control everything in the castle, and yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
he's
stone.
a mimic.
If it's just stone, is that all? Is that's the thing? Is it just stone? Is it rocks? How far does this go?
Like this is what if Crocodile was introduced here, this is the kind of shit Crocodile would do. He'd make a giant fucking sandcastle out of his body and fuck people up.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. Is the thing. I would like to see it. I hope Crocodile shows up one of these days. But yeah, no, Pika's a problem. Eventually Luffy and Viola kind of separate off because Pika is Zoro's problem. Let's be clear. I think you probably knew that the second his power is 100%. Remotely relevant. What Zoro's whole character arc of deciding to cut through things has been leading up to this moment. What if just you had to fight a Palace who is a man? Was the Palace built first? Was he a man? Like, does he have a human form separate? Is he the Thing? Not the Disorder, the One Piece man. Yeah, no, he's a man. I guess he was in shadow in the flashbacks when they took the island. Because I'm guessing he was there. But also his design's stupid. He looks much cooler when he's made out of rock.
Yeah.
Anyways, which is probably the design that came first or mattered in Oda's eyes. But anyways, yeah, so he's around now. He's on the board, so to speak. Back to Frankie. He's set on fire. It's fine. Let's talk about Usopp.
The Frankie on fire thing was really fucking funny.
It's really funny even if like nothing happens. Cause he has a whole bit where he has to decide on a new hairstyle, but then he just goes back to the original one. Yeah. Probably filler, but I liked it.
I just liked how he was like, ooh, new bullets, what do those do? And then he gets shot and set on fire, and then he's just standing there on fire for a bit before he's like, oh yeah, fire doesn't do anything to me.
Yeah. At some point, he's like, he makes it seem like he's gonna shoot a rocket out of his hair, but it just comes out of his shoulder again. So Frankie's got bits. I love Frankie. And to be fair, even though these scenes are nothing and spinning in their own wheels, I think it's cool on paper that he's holding off for strong guys and Marines.
Yeah.
I like Frankie. He's a great guy. Cool. Frankie's cool.
You know what? Every day I keep thinking, damn, I should have 2 week into quarantine dyed my hair blue like I was planning, like I thought about to be like Frankie.
Would you grow it out in the same sort of pompadour thing? Like pre-time skip?
You know, that would honestly not be a bad idea, but I already alienate myself from everyone around me enough, and I don't think
I could dyed your mustache blue? Dye the mustache blue.
Here's the thing. Maybe when I'm like 35 and still feel the need to bring attention to myself at shows. When I'm like, why isn't it about me anymore?
I am made uncomfortable when it's not about me.
Why is it about these kids here? Pay attention to me.
Well, that's why you start your own band. That's why everybody in their 30s has a band.
That's fair. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, all right. Frankie scene's over. Usopp. I mean, everybody in the Usopp
Is he doing
squad.
his marksman thing?
Not yet. He kind of does jack shit in these episodes.
You know what I was thinking the entire fucking time?
Yeah, he should have done his fucking marksman thing.
He should have shot the fucking grape into her mouth.
You'd think that would be the immediate assumption.
But he
actively tries to do nothing in these episodes. He's
actively being unhelpful. Robin is going above and beyond what is asked of her. Of course the woman's going to do more than is asked for, the man's not going to do jack shit.
Ugh. Am I right, ladies? So, I am an Usopp defender. I love him. But these scenes feel like a little like, come on, man. Like, I get, and I think it probably goes back to a lot of the same stuff I've been complaining about, which is just waiting for A to happen before you can have a B, C, and D. But it's annoying when it's on the back of a good character doing things that don't really feel in his character too much. But I think I was really on the fence watching it because, like, there's a lot of, like, okay, well, this is the Tentadas problem. Should we see them fail before we see someone else take in and do it for them? That might be what's going on here, and just really poorly. Because Usopp's been asked help their whole time here, and it's just like, well, they do their thing, they're trying to save the princess or whatever, they fail spectacularly, they all die, and now Usopp will do something about it when, because we've been watching the show for over 600 episodes, we're like, why doesn't Usopp just shoot the grape in her mouth? That's his whole deal. He literally shoots Tabasco at people already. That's already a move he has. They got to knock out Sugar, and their plan is to put a hot sauce grape in her basket of grapes. I've summarized, like, an episode and a half.
It's so spicy, it almost killed 18 of them.
Yeah, the Tentada were testing it, and 18 of them almost died. So it should probably scare her, I guess, or knock her unconscious, I guess is what they want. But we see that she turned Cavendish into a toy. We referenced this earlier, that, like, we get that great reveal of what his power is and this interesting thing about him, and then poof, he's gone. We don't remember him anymore. But he'll probably matter again in like another 15, 20 episodes. Who could say? They wouldn't just set him up for nothing, right? Probably. With this arc, at this moment, you can't really tell. But anyways, yeah, so the hot sauce grape is the plan. 670, we see how strong Treble is. There's a fly bugging him. He flicks his goo at it. He shoots his goo at the fly, and not only does it hit it and blast through like 8 layers of wall, Robin also uses her power to look at it, and it was shot directly between the eyes. So he's got good aim. Damn. Seems like Leo is probably going to get got if he does the thing that he does. We cut away, and then later we cut back to, Robin, why did you stop me from doing the thing I was clearly doing? Which is so strange. A way to do it. But yeah, they end up distracting Treble. Describe that when we get to it, going a little out of order. Because it would make more sense and be a more streamlined narrative if they just did all the Usopp stuff and then all the other people's stuff. But to make the podcast worse, I will present it in the way that the anime presents it. Burgess has a shockwave attack. It seems like Dials, but I don't think it is.
You know, it wasn't clear if he was just like building up energy power doing it, if it was the thing on his arm that was doing it. Like,
I think it's on his arm because they make a big deal when Sabo breaks it, like on his elbow.
See, I wasn't sure if that was just he's so strong he broke the big man's big armor. Like,
I don't know, because the fucking Kano boys have something very similar. Seems like if they're so similar, you would put them in different arcs or make them not the same thing. I don't know. Maybe he'll have a completely different bit when Blackbeard actually matters again. I wrote that he did an attack. I don't know who he did it at. He does it.